Hey everyone, welcome to the Zelda Board Podcast. I'm your host, spigelwii, and with me as always I have HextupleyooDOT.
Hello.
And also with me, Xiaber.
I'm always here.
Always here, except most of the time. And then also, tonight we have another special guest host for you all to enjoy. We have Volvagia Slayer, Mod to the Stars.
Hey guys.
And this is the first time we've ever had a mod on the show that has not been exiled from Modland. As you know, we had Twilight Prince 12 on a couple weeks ago. But this week we got Volvagia Slayer. So it should be pretty interesting. I don't know how long-winded we're going to be on this show, but like I said, should be entertaining. Hope you enjoy the episode. We're going to kick off the episode actually by talking a little bit of news, and we got quite a few things to talk about, even though they're all kind of minor. Just coming out today, we got a message from Sakurai that development on Smash Bros. Wii U is not complete yet. Does anyone have a read on what that means? I know people were arguing in the Skype chat whether it meant the game actually was not complete yet or whether they were working on DLC for it.
I would think that it just means that they're still working on like the side games parts of it, like the just fine-tuning things.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well. I mean, they're what, like just over a month away from release now, so I'm guessing they're not just sitting there waiting for the release date. They're working on something, even if it's just polish and bugs and whatnot. Who knows? I don't know how I feel in terms of whether or not DLC is going to happen these days. Sometimes I feel like it's a sure thing. Sometimes I feel like, oh no, wait. What if they're just trophies of all these characters that have been rumored for DLC? So that kind of would deconfirm, I think. So I don't know. I'm guessing they're just polishing.
We can definitely talk about Smash Bros. DLC at a later date, because there's probably a lot to go into there, and as we get closer to release, I'm sure we can talk about that. But speaking of DLC, we also have some more DLC-related news. The Hyrule Warriors Master Quest DLC pack came out today. I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance to play around with that. I know Volvagia Slayer doesn't have a Wii U yet. I was playing Hyrule Warriors early today. I didn't get a chance to play it myself either. But either you guys?
I still don't have the actual game.
Oh, you don't even have it yet?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, but anyway, I'm sure the DLC is very good. It's like $20 for everything if you download like all of it together. I can't remember the name of the pack, but. Well, we're being very professional. We were clearly prepared to talk about this, so let's.
I think it's called the Master Quest pack.
Master Quest pack, yeah, that's what this one's called.
I haven't even downloaded, I haven't registered for Club Nintendo to get the Ganondorf stuff. I haven't even redeemed my Skyward Sword stuff from the Best Buy pre-order, so I'm really behind in DLC.
You gotta get on that, man. Those costumes add a lot to the gameplay.
Exactly.
They really do. Yeah. Okay, one more piece of DLC news, and this was probably the biggest one of all, is we got a little bit more news on the Mario Kart 8 DLC, which is we got an image, a strange image of Link riding a motorcycle. And I know some people were really into that. I myself thought it was a little strange, and I don't really know how I feel about it. But I know someone in this podcast has a very strong opinion about it.
It's bound to happen. I think he would be awesome riding a motorcycle.
I mean, it's not like we didn't see him riding a motorcycle in the previous images. We saw a screenshot of him riding a standard bike or something. But this is the first time we actually saw a Zelda-themed bike, which is the Master Cycle. Very clever name, haha. I like the German name better. The German name is the Eponator, which is great.
So ridiculous.
What was the German name for the twin Rova sisters?
Oh, I don't know.
It was like Killa Omas, and Oma is grandmother in Japanese. German. Oma is German for grandmother, so they were Killer Grandmas is what
Killer
their name
Grandmas.
was.
That's funny.
They tend to make their localizations sound like some sort of metal band. Killa Omas, Eponator. Doesn't that sound like metal bands to you?
Maybe in some reality. Not mine. I know that. One other thing, since we have Volvagia Slayer on this podcast, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. But Aonuma said the other day that he'd be interested in seeing the Master Cycle in a Zelda game in the like a legitimate Zelda game in the future.
Oh, did he really?
And I was thinking, what would this do to the lore of the Zelda series?
Spieg, when I first heard, when I first heard the news that the Master Cycle was going to be in Mario Kart 8, I was like, okay, no problem. It's, just a Mario Kart game. They've made it pretty clear that it's not supposed to be connected to any sort of canon. I'm fine, do whatever. But then Aonuma said he wanted it to be in the actual games, and I'm just like, Aonuma, you just built up so much goodwill with me with the whole, let's push exploration in the next Zelda game, and this just killed it for me.
I read that quote and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what were they thinking making this bike? They're going to ruin the entire franchise because Link appeared in Mario Kart 8. Now there's not going to be a single good Zelda game because Link was in Mario Kart 8 with his own bike.
And we really shouldn't feel like that because they have had, this sort of technology in the series before, One guy even has a headset microphone in Twilight Princess. So this type of stuff isn't technically out of the realm of believability. It just seems like it doesn't fit.
I just think about the last time they brought a major piece of technology to a Zelda game. You know what that was? It was a steam-powered train. I mean, how'd that work out for you? I mean, the game wasn't terrible, but it was just I don't know.
Yeah, no exploration, no overworld.
Yeah.
No one cared about electricity in Majora's Mask, though.
That was the best Zelda game. The biggest piece of technology they had there was I don't know, what would it be?
Yeah, they had the rocket ship and the bomb shop, and you could argue that...
I always forget about that rocket ship.
Yeah. I've heard some people argue that God or Goat, or however you want to pronounce the boss of Snowhead, is like a giant robot, so that could potentially be more technologically advanced than a rocket.
Definitely possible. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he looks like a robot now that I think about it. So I don't have a good segue, so we're just going to move on. The new 3DS, with the name that Hex loves so much, launched in Japan last week, or maybe it was this week, I can't remember, but it launched at some point in the last 7 days. And it was, frankly, it did very well. It sold nearly 250,000 units in the first couple days, and it sold out, and Monster Hunter 4 is selling like a beast, and 4G, excuse me, it's selling like a beast, and just it's doing really well. And I was wondering, people are always keen to buy remodels of stuff, and I'm wondering if the new 3DS is going to have the same kind of success in America when it eventually launches here.
That's a good question. I mean, it does seem to be doing pretty well in Japan.
We kind of touched on this, Hex, when we talked about the naming of the new 3DS, and you said that you thought the name was confusing in terms of marketing, but it doesn't seem to be that confusing to the Japanese market, because clearly people were lined up across streets to get this thing.
Well, I mean, is it called just the plain? I guess it is called the new 3DS in Japan as well, isn't it?
I guess so.
I don't know. I mean, if they're doing the marketing well and they're just getting the message out that it is a new iteration of a hardware thing, then I guess it doesn't really matter what the name is, as long as they're doing okay actually telling people, which they didn't do with the Wii U.
They're going to have to step it up in America for sure.
Name. So yeah, they're just going to have to make sure that their messaging is really clear whenever they get it to America. I still don't think it's an optimal name, so they're kind of working like an uphill battle rather than coasting, but it's whatever.
I do feel like they pretty much ruined the purpose of the 2DS with the new 3DS.
Maybe a little bit, but it's sort of a different target.
I know, but it's just like, unless they have a new 2DS, then they kind of just have no reason to buy it if they're going to make games I can't play on it.
I mean, maybe you could say that, but with the 2DS, I kind of feel like you were just sort of going for a kind of a niche audience at that time, and they're not really focused on it anymore. They don't even bring up the 2DS anymore when they're talking about games for 3DS. They used to say games for 3DS or 2DS. You don't even really see that anymore. And it's not even necessarily just because it's not even because the 2DS flopped. It's just because that kind of time has passed. I sort of looked at it kind of like a Game Boy Micro type situation. Only not nearly as bad of an idea.
So yeah, we'll see, I guess. I hope it does well. I'm gonna get one, even though I already have a 3DS XL.
That's what I was going to ask. Is anyone besides me getting one on day one? Obviously, Hex is.
I don't know about day one.
Not on
but-
day one, but I will take one eventually.
I probably will not be getting one. The only time I've ever upgraded, apart from, a generational leap, is from the GBA to the SP. Everything else, I have the original.
The SP, I think, was definitely a worthy upgrade. That was probably their best redesign of maybe any handheld console they've ever had, I think.
Yeah.
Because adding that backlight was just so huge, and the fact that it came with a rechargeable battery was huge too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more couple more things I want to touch on here. Personal things for me. I actually got a job at GameStop, so everyone be jealous, because now with my Power Up Rewards discount, I also get on top of that a 15% employee discount. So I now get 25% off all used games. So everyone be jealous, because my game collection is about to explode. I'm about to go irresponsibly buy so many games that I'm just never going to play, and my backlog is going to be infinite.
You're never going to be able to do that backlog episode.
Yeah, because we're not going to finish it. We're going to just be talking for hours.
Absolutely,
and then, yeah. I could be using the time that we're doing this podcast to play games off my backlog, but, there you go.
At least your shelf is gonna look nice. I've always wanted a nice looking shelf, so.
My shelf does look very nice right now. It's all full with games, and it's lovely. I do love buying games, and I love having games. I love collecting games. So that's we were talking about a backlog episode because there's several people on the Zelda board who have pretty impressive backlogs, and I wanted to get everyone on to kind of talk about it, but I wasn't sure how we would structure that. So we'll probably do it at some point in the future, but we're still trying to figure out how to work out the kinks there. Other thing, I'm getting married this weekend, everybody.
Woo!
So
Congratulations.
I don't know if I'm going to have time to do a podcast next week, so I just wanted to mention that, bring it up, just so you guys know.
We might forgive you for that.
If you guys still want to do the podcast, it's fine with me. I don't care if I'm not hosting, but I don't know who's going to carry this show without someone who's constantly interrupting.
I can carry this show. I can do it.
No.
I can talk more then.
Maybe we can all talk over each other, and then we'll really see who. We'll see who dominates when we're all talking over each other, and that's who the host should be.
Well, obviously you, because you don't stop talking.
Exactly. That's how I got to be the host that I am today.
You got to be the host because you came up with the idea.
That's part of it, I guess. I don't know. The important thing is that maybe we'll have a show next week, maybe not. If not, we apologize, and we'll have a extra special show for you the next week. Which is not actually extra special. I'm just saying that to make you not mad at me at this time.
Well, that worked well.
Yeah, and it was a well-constructed sentence, too. So before we go to a break, obviously we have a guest host, and when we have a guest host, I like to take advantage of that by asking them, some questions about themselves, and since our guest host, Volvegia Slayer, is pretty specialized, if you know anything about him on the Zelda board, he likes to post a lot about one certain thing, and we kind of already touched on it. It is the Zelda lore and Zelda timeline stuff. Super into that, and it's cool that we got to have him on this episode because obviously Zelda timeline, huge topic of discussion on the Zelda board for years, and I suspect it will be for many years to come. So let's jump into this a little bit here, and I got a few questions for you if you don't mind answering them.
Sure.
So I got just a list here. And I guess the first one that anyone would ask for something as kind of niche as this is how and why did you get so into Zelda lore, and what sort of attracted you to that?
Well, I've always been attracted to the idea of, these really deep stories, and Zelda, on its face doesn't seem like it has that. You really have to dig into it to find that deep story. And when I really first started in on the Zelda series, I think I found the IGN boards either right before or right after Wind Waker had released. So there weren't a whole lot of games out. I had only played, I think, Ocarina and Majora. So I wasn't really into the whole story thing then, but when I found IGN, I saw, people having these discussions about the timeline. And I would read through some of them, and I got really interested in it. So as I would play through the games, I would pick out these little story bits and try my own hand at these discussions. And there was a discussion topic made by a guy with the username Reckon12, and it was titled...
When was this, for some perspective? When was this?
I think this was probably in 06 or 07.
Okay.
And the title of the thread was, I think, what is your timeline theory, or something to that effect. And it eventually got to the point where, a bunch of people posted their own theories, and then it just turned into a discussion thread between me, Reckon12, a guy named Evil User, and a guy named Mumbo 230 or 320. I forget the numbers.
You are name dropping right now. I've never heard of any of these people, and I've been on the Zelda board for years.
Your memory astounds me.
Oh yeah, they have been gone for a while. So this thread, I can still find it in my history because, the threads that go on for many, many pages, the board doesn't purge them as quickly. So you can still find it towards the end of the list of threads.
You know what? If it's still in your history, I'm going to provide a link to that thread in the video description. So if you want to see that, go ahead and go down to the description, and it'll be there.
So yeah, and through this discussion, I basically formulated my first real timeline theory, just going back and forth through these discussions with these guys.
That's cool. One day we're definitely going to have an in-depth timeline episode. I'm going to study up. I'm going to prep for it. We're going to have a legitimate discussion in which you destroy me regarding my own timeline theories. But I don't have anything like that prepared today, so we're not going to do that now. But
well, that sounds great.
But we will definitely do that because that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So my other question kind of related to that was how do you keep up with everything? You just with all the stuff that you have to do. Obviously, you're a really busy guy. How do you sort of internalize all this information, or do you have a method of saving it so that you can reference it at any time?
I just have a really good memory for the most part. I'd say it's probably 90% memory, 5% Zelda wikis, and 5% looking up text dumps online and referring back to these little things that I've typed up for myself. Basically, any theory or debate that is brought up very often, I've typed up something for it just so I can copy and paste that, because after you argue it so many times, you just got to save time by copying and pasting that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's probably really helpful. Are you like this with any other kind of games? Are there any other series that you're really into the lore, like Metroid? I know for one that you were talking early at the beginning of this. You said a lot of the story for Zelda's not really on the surface, and I feel like Metroid, especially the Metroid Prime games, are very similar. Are you like that with any of the other games? Yeah,
absolutely. Especially the Metroid series. I mean, I'm not as into the Metroid series as Zelda, I guess, because a lot of its story is in the manga and other, outside of game information. But as far as the stuff that's in universe, in game, I'm fairly invested in that, to a similar extent as Zelda. I think these days, since I have gotten into, this whole story thing and trying to figure out how the puzzle pieces fit together for Zelda, I've approached that similarly with most games I play now. But as it happens, most games I play now don't have 17 entries in their franchise.
Well, not to mention the fact that most games with sequels focus on the exact same character. Like, this is the same Samus through the entire thing.
Exactly,
whereas
yeah.
Zelda, it's 10 different Links and 10 different Zeldas and, a bunch of other things that you have to keep track of. So
true.
And no other series that I can think of is really like that. It's one of the unique things about the Zelda franchise, which is really cool, I think, is that every time it's telling a different story. So, okay, that'll about do it for that portion of the interview. I just wanted to sort of pick your brain about that, and it's really interesting, sort of the approach that you take. But I just wanted to ask, last question, as usual, what have you been playing lately? What's your favorite game ever?
Okay, lately I have not been playing much of anything, but actually I take that back. Because Smash Bros. Wii U is coming out relatively soon, I have started playing a little bit of Brawl lately, just trying to get the last few trophies that I don't have.
Yeah.
I just recently, like yesterday or the day before, finally got Meta Ridley's trophy. And I think I've gotten everything except for a few subspace emissary enemy trophies and the trophy for beating boss battles on Intense, which is just impossible.
Just not going to happen.
What about
Yeah.
the stickers?
Oh, I've given up on stickers.
Does
Not
anyone
good,
try to
yeah.
get stickers? I've never.
Who cares? There's no description. I don't care about it.
I have like 6 or 7 left. It's so annoying.
Wow.
You serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We like made a conveyor belt thingy where we trap them and collect them.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I did the same thing for CDs, but after that it was like
I did it for CDs also, yeah.
I can't be bothered to do all this.
Yeah,
and
there's a trophy for collecting all the stickers, but I just used the hammer on that one.
I think I did too, and I think the trophy is stickers.
Yeah,
It's like the
it is.
stickers trophy. That's
Yeah.
like it's some kind of a like time warp thing with like I don't know what the thing is. Okay, sorry, don't pay attention to me. Just keep talking.
Back to your question. Before Brawl, the most recent thing I played was back in the summer, and it was either BioShock Infinite, Burial at Sea, or Batman Arkham Origins. I played both of those pretty close together, so I don't remember which one I played more recently. But, I mean, they were a lot of... Well, the gameplay in Burial at Sea was really fun, but I was not a fan of the story. I loved the story for BioShock Infinite, and I felt that Burial at Sea didn't quite live up to that. Arkham Origins, I had heard a lot of things about how it was so mediocre, but I was pleasantly surprised for the most part. So, I mean, I ran into more glitches than I would have liked, but apart from that, it was a lot better than I was expecting.
Cool. I know those games are pretty highly acclaimed. But last part of the question: what's your favorite game ever?
That is a tough question. I don't know if I can peg it down to just one. Right now,
Give us a couple.
I think it's between Metroid Prime,
Good choice.
Donkey Kong Country 2, and Banjo-Kazooie.
In my mind, those are all excellent choices.
Yeah.
So I guess you enjoy platformers.
I guess so. And see, I would say I enjoy Zelda more than Mario, and Metroid more than Mario as well. But and Mario's the quintessential platformer. But I do apparently like games with platformer elements. So.
Yeah, you're a big Zelda 2 fan too. So now there's that.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before the show, and how I was ripping Zelda 2 and he was defending it, but we don't need to talk about that now because I don't want to get Zelda 2 lovers on my case. So, but we're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna go ahead and rip into the second part of the podcast, our main topic. We actually don't have a user question of the week this week because everyone's lagging on that. So, we're gonna ask you guys step up this week, get us a user question. We need a user question of the week. Ask us anything, as long as it can be, talked about like legitimately, not just like, what's your favorite color? No one cares about that.
Purple.
Green.
I haven't decided.
Cobalt blue, hexadecimal code 0047AB.
All right. And yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into our main topic. Okay, everybody, welcome back. That was our break, and now that we're done with our break, we're going to go ahead and talk about our main topic, which is what game are you most hyped about right now? And I chose this question because obviously, while Smash is coming out next month, and you'd think that would be the answer for a lot of us, it's really not, because we've already been playing Smash for a couple weeks. And whether or not it's a different version, there's just other games that are coming out that I'm more excited about right now. So go ahead, whoever wants to answer this, just go ahead, and I'll come in later.
Well, I guess I can start with that. My answer is a little bit strange, I think, because it's a game that we're probably not going to see for at least a year, and that is Zelda for the Wii U. And let me explain myself for a second.
I don't think you have to explain yourself.
Well, I will explain myself anyway. So we've been playing Wind Waker for the book club, right? And so far, that's what we can call like the first HD Zelda experience, right? For the Wii U. And that's kind of like they're working off the coattails of that with the new game, and some of the things that they did in that game as experimentation, you can kind of see where they're going to take it. One of the things is the Pictobox. I've been having way too much fun with the Pictobox in Wind Waker, and I hope that there is something like it in the new Zelda, because it would be a really, really badly missed opportunity if they don't have a Pictobox. But I'm just hoping.
Have a video camera.
Oh yeah, even better.
That would go perfectly with his Master Cycle that he's riding around. He should have a GoPro that he wear when he's doing his Master Cycle.
Yes. But no, yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really fun game, even though we have known absolutely nothing about it. But just seeing the art style has made me really, really excited, and that's what I'm going to say. Tell to you.
Well, I guess I'll go next. I'm honestly not really looking forward to anything coming out lately, just because I am just tired from all the stuff I've gotten that has come out recently. I've gotten like 3 or 4 new things in the past few months. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through a bunch of old games that I've gotten or keep getting because I'm stupid. And something I recently got was Elite Beat Agents for the DS. So I'm looking forward to playing that whenever I find time. I can't really explain it. It's just that I enjoy rhythm games like that, I guess.
I was talking about this with them during the break, by the way, and I'm such a huge Elite Beat Agents fan, and if you like rhythm games, you're gonna love this game. If you've never played Elite Beat Agents, I give it my highest recommendation. It's up there with Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like up there with games that use ridiculous accessories like that. Only with the DS, there are no ridiculous accessories. It's just an awesome game.
Good deal.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for that. I'll go. And like I said, there's a lot of talk about Smash coming out next month. I'm not hyped for it now because I've been playing Smash on 3DS. And as of now, as of the day of this recording, which is Thursday the 16th of October, we have not gotten any legitimate information about the single-player modes in Smash Wii U to get hyped about. So not too hyped about that right now. That'll probably change in the coming days, but there is a game that's coming out in approximately 1 week that I'm super excited about, and that is the awesome Bayonetta 2. None of you guys, as far as I know, has played the demo yet, but I have played the demo, and it is awesome. And I never played the original. It was my first real experience with a game like that. Like, I never played Devil May Cry, and I never played the original Bayonetta, so... but I played it, and I'm like, wow, this is so fluid, and it's so much fun to like do all these combos and everything that Bayonetta can do, and it's just crazy over the top, and I love stuff like that. So I'm really excited for Bayonetta 2. The review scores have been great. There's no reason to think that this won't be a Game of the Year contender. It's just a shame that nobody's going to play it because it's on Wii U. And while I'm on that subject, anyone who's complaining about this game only being on Wii U, how about you buy a Wii U, and then you can play Bayonetta? Like, don't...
And Nintendo Land.
Yeah, and awesome Nintendo Land.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of games that are great for Wii U now. That myth is gone. There's so many great games, so...
I think people are just angry that, like, they invested in a PS4 which literally has nothing interesting on it except indie games and knack, and instead they could be playing, Bayonetta 2 on Wii U.
The Wii U that is outselling the Xbox One constantly.
Not lately, but but by the time Smash comes out, I mean, Nintendo always has great holiday seasons. If you want to talk about sales, we can talk about sales, but I don't want to go down that road because we still got to get to VS's answer to this question.
All right. Well, Hex stole my answer. I was gonna say Zelda Wii U also, but I definitely agree with everything he said. So I guess to go in a different direction then, since I don't have a Wii U yet, my most anticipated game could possibly be Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Nice.
I've heard great things about that game. I loved Returns. I said earlier that Donkey Kong Country 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and Returns was just a small thing below that. So I've heard that Tropical Freeze is apparently better than Returns, so I'm really looking forward to finally getting my hands on that and giving it a try.
Just think of what I've played of Tropical Freeze. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about maybe a quarter of the way through it. But think of everything you knew and loved about Returns, and it's in this game, and it's in HD, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, that just sounds awesome.
One of the best looking games on the system for sure, and I think it's, based on what I've played, I think it's totally underrated too. I think people are looking past it. But it could be a legitimate Game of the Year candidate based on what I've played of it. Actually, we're going to talk about that in a later episode. We're going to have our 2014 Game of the Year awards, and we're going to give out some awards. And that's a little spoiler for, not a spoiler, but like a preview of what's to come for this podcast. So if you're interested in that, just keep an eye out, and that'll happen later in the year for sure. And we'll definitely talk about that.
I'm gonna have to remember what games came out this year.
I'll make a convenient list for everyone. Yeah, but definitely when you get a Wii U, definitely pick that game up because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, you were mentioning Donkey Kong Country earlier. That is supposed to come out on the Wii U Virtual Console, from what I understand. All three of them.
That's right, I heard that.
Yeah, so
all three and the land games.
That's really exciting for me because I have not gotten to play 2 or 3. I played the first one. That was when it was back on the Wii Virtual Console, and then they took it down for some reason.
Yeah.
Did anyone know why? I can't remember. I think there was a reason.
I don't think they ever gave an official reason. They just took them down. People speculated for a little while that maybe there was some, issue with the rights, or that Nintendo was planning on doing something new with them, but, nothing official ever came of it.
That was the speculation that I was inclined to believe, is that they were going to release like a 3-pack, like maybe an HD remake of some kind. And maybe who knows, maybe they were experimenting with that, like when they decided to make Returns. I mean, that like maybe after they saw the success of that game, maybe that's what they wanted to do. But either way, then we ended up with Tropical Freeze and not a new Metroid Prime game. So I'm not bitter. I'm just saying. So that's it for that. Kind of talked a little news. Got the interview in. Got our main topic. We don't have a user question of the week, sadly. So
what is your favorite number?
Favorite number?
9.
I don't think I have one.
Obviously 360, because Nintendo did a complete 360 when they decided to go from the Wii to the Wii U. So
I see what you did there.
I was joking, by the way.
They did a complete 1 degree.
Yeah.
I'll go with 23.
I could be generic and say 42, but I'm not going to be that guy.
I was thinking about being that guy, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say 2, because Bayonetta 2 is coming out next week.
Well, I'm going to say 4, because Smash 4 is pretty great. What are we doing?
Okay.
What are we doing?
This is wow,
We're
this
degenerating very
really quickly.
My favorite is 9, just
That was
because
unbelievable.
Microsoft skipped it.
Oh yes, Windows 9.
I like to say that Hex and I are on the complete same brainwave right now.
Well, we're the same person. Remember that?
Well, everyone's Surtith's alt, really. So, that's some more Zelda board news for you, by the way. I have learned that you are indeed Surtith's alt if you post on the Zelda board. So, if you didn't know, congratulations, you are now informed. Insert the more you the more you know logo here. The more you know. I am losing it over here. Oh man. It's been a hard day. It's been a very hard day of sitting around playing Hyrule Warriors.
You poor thing.
doing nothing. Yeah.
I understand how that can wear on
We
you.
were practicing songs for my wedding earlier because for some reason, Quadruple Jane, another user on the Zelda board, she thought it would be a good idea if I played songs at my own wedding so I wouldn't have to dance because she knows how much I hate to dance.
I thought you were going to
So-
take that in a different direction. I thought you were going to say.
You gotta do the conga.
I thought you were going to say she thought it was a good idea to marry you.
Oh well, yeah. Well, same thing there too. So,
No premarital Wind Waker, okay?
well, we're not going to get into that right now. That's an inside joke for the Skype chat only. Do we have any other Zelda board news to talk about? Has anything interesting happened? I don't know. The board's
It's
been really
slow.
dead lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, jerks. One thing I could plug because I want to have him on the show at some point. Ghost, also AKA Ghost 2, on the Zelda board. Him and his friend Todorico just finished their Wind Waker HD playthrough. They have their own YouTube channel, and I know they listen to this show, and I'm sure they'll appreciate the plug. They just posted the last video in their thread today. So if you're interested, if you like Let's Plays, they do some pretty good ones. So go check that out. It's on the front page and everything.
One thing that we can do right now.
Okay.
That we said we were going to do. So
Okay, go
I
ahead.
made a bet for internets with Spiegel here that there will be no more Zelda U news until next year's E3. So I'm just going to make that official right now. I'm betting you that there will not be any Zelda U news until E3 2015.
I thought we did that on the podcast last week, or was that just?
No, we did it on
that
the
was just some
brainstorming
random voice
session.
chat. Okay. Oh yeah, we can't chat anymore because I keep getting confused what's on the podcast and what's not. Yes, I accept this bet. I believe there will be some Zelda news. I wanted to take it even further and say I think we're going to get some Zelda news this year. But he didn't want to go that far. He just said till E3. So I will accept the terms of this bet. We have witnesses. Xiaber and Volvegas Lair are both here.
What are you betting?
Internets.
Just internets.
All you bet that you have to wool me. Well, Spigel's already wooled me.
I'm not gonna.
People
I'm
still
gonna de-wall.
wall? Do they do that
Hey,
still?
walls are the best. If you're listening to the show, do us a favor, go wall us on IGN. We really appreciate it. Walls would be relevant if we still had an MU, but
Yeah.
You went there.
One day the MU will make a glorious return.
Mu.
Or the Mu.
Coefficient of fraction.
How do you pronounce that word? Is it Mu or MU?
Mu.
It's pronounced
like the
members
coefficient of
update.
static friction or whatever.
Like the Pokemon?
Mu.
Oh,
Like the cat.
one last thing, by the way. This is kind of going off topic or off the track of what I was originally going to say, but I saw a thing on a website. I'm being really specific. This morning, I saw a thing on a thing about regarding Pokemon Snap and why they haven't made a new one.
Oh snap.
And it says, "Oh snap, indeed." And the article title is Pokemon Director would like, quote, a cool new version of Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Director Junichi Masuda has said that as a gamer, he would love to play a brand new version of Pokemon Snap running on the latest hardware. However, Masuda said that just adding improved current-gen visuals wouldn't make it as interesting as people imagine. Well, I guess that's like his opinion, man, because I don't agree. I mean, it's not just about the visuals, right? Like, there's frickin' over 700 Pokemon, and you've got a lot more technological advancement in the hardware. There's definitely more memory. You can you can make a bigger game, because Pokemon Snap is pretty dang short.
And you have a gamepad and a TV to mess with.
Yeah, and Hex was just saying the other day, like, how much he loved the gyro aiming with the gamepad, and it's like, it would be perfect fit. And I don't know what they're doing.
Well, we'll have another episode about stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a lot to complain about, games that haven't been made that need to be revived. And in fact, that could very well be next week's episode.
To just have like games that we want on Wii U.
We'll workshop it before we record next week for sure. And if you also this goes back to the user question of the week. If you have questions that you want answered, send us a user question. If it's a really good question, it may end up being the topic for a future podcast, which would be really cool because then you'd probably get to be a guest if that was the case. And and everyone knows how much fun being a guest host is because you get talked over by 3 other people as you try to get your opinion out there.
And
Especially,
yes, Hex and I are single.
What?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with this?
I don't know. If what are you talking about?
Just making sure that if anyone thinks that would be a good question, I'm already answering it.
Oh, I see. All right. Oh,
Okay.
I don't think anyone's going to ask that. I think they can just tell
Oh, okay.
by the fact that you're hosts. It's amazing that I ever found anyone
Says the
who would
guy
even...
getting married.
Hey, no. I'm saying it's a miracle on the same par as failed to come up with an example. That
Well,
was
Yeah, I'll deal with you later after this
Ouch.
podcast is over.
okay. That sounds like a threat. So you know what? Let's just let's go ahead and end this here because I've had enough of being threatened by you people.
I will throw a hex at you.
Oh,
I'll put a hex on your whole family.
okay, that's enough.
Yeah, I've had enough of this. Okay, so everyone, anyone have any final thoughts?
I
Anything
think
you
we've
want to
had
talk
like
about?
50 final thoughts at this point.
We've just been going for like 10 minutes on nothing.
I think we slayed Volvagia Slayer.
I don't know.
I'm
where
still
he-
here.
Okay, hello. So yeah, we want to thank Volvagia Slayer or Volvagia Slayer apparently for being a guest on this show.
No, you had it right the first time.
Okay, well we had a great time talking to you today. As always, HextupleyooDOT, Xiaber, spigelwii. Thank you for listening to the Zelda Board Podcast. Everyone say good night.
Good
night.
night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Do 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 do.